To me, enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't let them hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. You won't bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough.
Hey guys, welcome back to Indie Wrestling Corner with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host, as always, the queen of the indies, Tiffany. And today I got you the Monarchy. So we got BMT and then we got Ariel. How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. You guys are a little low. You're good? You can hear me, right? You guys are frozen.
I hear you just fine, yeah.
Okay. I don't know, like your video's frozen. No, not me now.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Try to hit the
Gotta
camera
switch it back.
button and then put it back on and see if that works.
Where's my-
There we go.
Better?
I think we're good now.
Yay.
Yay! We're gonna play Burger King. I don't know why, but we are.
I like it.
Anyway, guys, if you're new to the Under the Rope series, here I interview everything independent wrestling, whether it's wrestlers, promoters, referees, backstage. I got you covered. If you guys got questions, please feel free, drop it into the chat. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. So I like to start off, like, obviously I know you and like we're gonna get deeper into this and everything like that, but for a fan that's never seen you guys wrestle before, tuning into this interview for the first time to see you guys, what's a match that you would recommend for them to go watch to become an instant fan?
I would say it's probably the match that kind of like put us on the map when we returned. It was July of 2023 in a promotion in Rhode Island called RWA. It was a doghouse match. So it was actually me versus my wife. And the object of the match was the person who puts their spouse on the couch first and covers them with a blanket, a la casket match, wins.
Yep.
There were several household items involved. There was a weed whacker involved, a leaf blower involved. I think that was our introduction to
It was lots of shenanigans.
lots of shenanigans.
I used the flowers.
Yeah,
I ripped up some flowers,
Yes.
lots of fun things.
absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit more. I know like a lot of fans that follow me like know you from Chaotic Wrestling, which you guys are currently the tag team champions. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And then I want to talk about the Crown Jewel Challenge a little bit. So talk to us a little bit about both.
Chaotic. We are not the tag team champions of Chaotic Wrestling. Let's correct that. We are the keepers of the tag team crown jewels of the Chaotic realm. We do not hold the historically used Chaotic Wrestling championships. We have our one of one or two of two special tag team championships. As a matter of fact, wait.
Oh,
Please hold. In a perfect world, I'd have like a fancy loading thing here, but
here we go.
there we go. I like it.
We'll make it work around here.
I love it. Love that.
So
Yeah.
as I was saying, we do not hold just any Chaotic Wrestling Tag Team Championships. These are what are defined as the crown jewels of the chaotic wrestling tag team realm. See, what we did was the belts that were used before this were essentially a prop because the chaotic wrestling tag team division was essentially in hospice. And what we did was we went through every team, and when we were handed those belts, it just didn't feel right. I am not obligated to wear another person's crown. I wear my own crown, and this is what this is. These are our crowns, and we hold these very proudly, and we are the reason people care now about tag team wrestling and chaotic wrestling.
Yes.
Look at that. The belt looks pretty heavy.
Yes.
Looks pretty heavy.
It is.
I love like the looks of like belts nowadays. They're crazy. Like they're just like becoming
absolutely
bigger. Actually, you know what? Let me follow up with that because I know like a lot of fans love it. Like, what's your favorite looking belt in, wrestling in general?
Winged Eagle belt. Winged Eagle belt all day, every day. The very first show I ever remember watching was WrestleMania 4 when my dad bought me the double VHS. I know I'm dating myself. And that's the time Randy Macho Man Savage won that belt. So yeah, Winged Eagles for me is the belt. My favorite wrestling match of all time is Shawn versus Brett WrestleMania 12. So that belt is what Shawn won that night. So that's hands down. There will never be an argument.
Yeah, I definitely like the old school belts. I think nowadays, like they just kind of carbon copy each thing and then just keep changing the background.
Yeah.
So I like the old ones.
I feel like we're getting a lot more belts now, like in the indies. I mean, like even shout out to Alex Rojas, who's been designing a lot of these belts today, which they're heavy.
Creation.
It's so crazy. It's beautiful. So shout out to him. If you guys need belts, hit up Alex Rojas also. So he's got you covered also. So let's continue a little bit about like I associate like Rad Pro Fight Life also with chaotic wrestling. So let's talk a little bit about Rad Pro Wrestling. Shout out to Max Smashmaster. He's doing great things. If you guys are not familiar, you can watch that on IWTV. Max Smashmaster's been on the podcast as well if you want to learn a little bit more about it. So let's talk about like we got the vibes, right? Of like Married with Children. And then, we have so many fun matches. You have your kids come out too, which I'm going to follow up on because I definitely want to talk about that. I finally got to come up to a Rad Pro show after a couple of years, but I've been watching every single show that's been put out. Let's talk a little bit about Lord Shreds. So in December, if nobody hasn't watched that, it's on IWTV. And I'm sure people have saw my footage of screaming at Dustin that he's a homewrecker. So, like, talk to us a little bit about Rad Pro. Talk to us about this match. Some of your favorite matches.
So Rad Pro. So Max is absolutely amazing doing what he's doing. Growing up, Chikara was a very big promotion around, and I was always pretty sad when it went away, in a sense. So Max bringing Rad Pro is essentially kind of that missing piece that I think wrestling needs so desperately.
Right.
So it was Max is the greatest promoter in the sense of asking you to work for him. It's not typical promoter where it's like, hey, are you available on such and such date at such and such time? With Max, it was more like, hey, how would you feel about me booking you and your kids
and your whole family?
And then saying, if it's a yes, can you please send me a family photo? It's so much. Oh my God. It is so much fun. I mean, it's making my kids develop egos, but it's so much.
Stop it. They all want to be a part of it now. Like, do we get to do a spot? Do we get to do something this time? I'm like, yes, of course.
I mean, I think that's amazing that you guys could have your kids like be part of that, right? We don't see as much. We'll see like wrestlers come, they bring their kids get to be like in the front row supporting parents and everything like that. But this is probably like a dream that probably like even like me, like, oh, I wanted to be part of this growing up, or like anybody. And they get to be part of this, and they're so involved, running around and coming into the ring and everything like that. So is this something that they're like, oh, I want to be like wrestlers like mom and dad too?
So when we came back in 2022, we had a full-size ring set up in our garage. So me and my wife figured somebody's going to say something because those kids were in that ring all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what the New England wrestling scene would know as Banana Girl, or Rap Girlfriends would know as Monday. I think she's going to be the first one who's going to, we've already
kind of talked about when she's a little old enough, like she might want to do. She's already doing moves and spots essentially. And I think like it's funny, we have a few that love it. Like there's a few that kind of tolerate it and they have no choice but to go. And I mean, they love Rad Pro because they all have their own little character. But we have at least two for sure that I'm like, oh, it's only a matter of time until they're old enough. They've already asked me to train, and I'm like, you're not old enough yet. Yeah. You gotta wait. But there are at least two or three that I think will definitely get into it when they're old enough for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know state by state it's like different age limit, right? Like with training and stuff. How is it? Like, what is the age limit by you guys?
I don't really think there's an age limit.
Really?
I mean, I've never dealt with an athletic commission in Massachusetts.
I don't think there is one because our local company, New England Ring Gladiators, one of their main breakout stars is actually
Like 16.
he started at 16. He was training when he was 14, I think.
Yeah.
So he's been training for a long time, and he's only 18 now?
17.
He's 17 now, so he's not even old enough to vote.
Wow.
So, I don't think there is a, and Olivia started really early too.
What's Olivia, 11
Olivia, she's 11 and a half now. But no, really, she's I think 18, 19 now, and she's been training for 4 years.
Wow.
So
see, that's the disadvantage of New York.
Yeah, New York is, what's the age?
I think you could start training. I think, I know, Isaiah Quinn, I think he started training at 14, but he wasn't allowed, you're not allowed to be on an actual show until you're 18.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I don't think Mass or Massachusetts. I know Connecticut did it when I was breaking in Connecticut. They don't have athletic commission.
Yeah, we don't have an athletic commission, so we don't have to worry about all that.
Oh, this is all info for people out there that are looking training, and I've had messages from parents asking me that their kids want to start training wherever it is, whether they're in Jersey and stuff, where's the best place. So it's I like to throw out all that information for anybody tuning into this podcast, maybe this is something that you want to know. Let me give some love in this chat. We got Good Cop, Bad Cop. He goes, Your Highness and Lady. He goes, How art thou? That's fine evening. Jeff's in the chat. He says, Hello, Burger King and Queen.
So rude. So rude.
He said, Rad Pro Wrestling is amazing. Zach's in the chat. He goes, The Royal Army will live for generations. John's in the chat. He said, Tiff, much love to you as always, and much love to the Monarchy. Generally, some of the nicest people in the indies. Love that. Jeff says, I think New Hampshire is 13, but Mass is 16 to start training. Interesting. So these are questions I like to ask on the pod. Johnny Burke's in the chat. Hey, how are you? Thank you. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, drop your questions. If you guys have any questions, we can drop it here. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about fight life. So again, shout out to Frankie doing amazing things. It's grown so much that he hasn't gone back to Rhode Island. He outgrew the Rhode Island venue, which is great, and I know maybe he'll go back.
Yeah, I think he was at Linesider, but Linesider actually sold.
Oh, it's sold?
Yeah, it's sold. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then he did the event factory, but right now he's generally stationed in Rehoboth, Massachusetts.
Right. Yeah, he had told me that a while ago. Somewhere last year, maybe April or something, that he said they kind of outgrew it, so he hasn't come back, but that he wanted to go back because there's a lot of fans. I've been up there too, so I took the ride up there. Great place,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a wonderful venue, and everybody's treated so well there as well.
Greatest chili in the history of mankind.
And the beer's good and all that good stuff. So shout out to them. So we've had Jermaine Marbury on last week on the podcast, so we had to talk about you guys versus him. And a little mean Kathleen. We'll follow up with his question that he wanted me to ask you. But let's talk about this match because this was fun. And if guys aren't watching this, go on Thriller TV. You can go watch all the Fight Life episodes, backtrack that. This was so much fun. I think you guys like shocked the fans.
Yes.
So, and then Jermaine had said that he didn't even plan this, that he had said that it was you guys that kind of came up with this, that he just wind up like, okay, like perfect, let's do this scene and playing the Space Jam music and everything. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, being in Fight Life is very interesting because Fight Life reminds me a lot of like, you know, like back when I was a teenager, like Jersey All Pro, CZW, like places like that where it's very heavy on quality wrestling and guys who were going to go out there and bust their ass. And when talking to Frankie about tag teams that we can work, one team that came up was LMK and Teddy Goods, but Teddy Goods, you know, obviously
had just retired.
He had just retired. So I had mentioned, hey, I don't know why, but I think Kathleen would be really well with Jermaine Marbury.
He's a character.
Because he's a character.
He's a character. He's funny and works.
And you don't get too many characters like that these days. So, like when I see Jermaine Marbury, it reminds me of like Sugar Dunkerton from back in the day. Well, not back in the day, God, from years ago. So when we got this match, I'm like, we have to do something ridiculous.
Yeah.
We have to dress like idiots. And
it was a Halloween show.
We went to Spirit Halloween on the way to the show. We were like 90 minutes past call time just because we were shopping at Spirit Halloween, and we're really choosing between Buzz Lightyear and Woody and the Globo Jim from Dodgeball.
Yeah. It was almost a Buzz Lightyear.
It almost was, yeah. But you know, it was just one of those things where I was like, hey, how can we stand out? Because honestly, if you want us to go in there and have a 30-minute match with anybody, great, sure, ring the bell and we're good. But like, I always felt like Fight Life didn't have that dimension. It has so many dimensions to it, but it was kind of missing that element a little bit. And you give us LMK, then you give us Jermaine Marbury. We had just come off the Banana Girl thing
in the summer.
In the summer with Waves and Curls. So, you know, it was just one of those things where we looked at Jermaine and Kathleen and said, how do you feel about using Gina the referee as, you know, a character from Space Jam and dunking on us like we were a human basketball hoop, all while, you know, I believe Fly was playing in the background.
It was all
and
kind
by
of
the
ridiculous.
way, little Easter egg, my wife was introduced to you by that video you posted of you losing your mind while Jermaine was carrying Gina across the ring.
Oh my God, it was the best.
Who's that girl? Oh, that's Tiffany. That's Tiffany. That's the podcast.
I was like, oh.
I love that.
We were a hoop for so damn long. It was ridiculous.
Oh, my knees.
I was sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, this is never going to end.
Yeah, you guys were standing there for a while.
The video and I'm like, come on, let's go.
That stuff was crazy.
Nobody remembered it.
It was one of those moments, and that's just like, you know, this is the fun thing about wrestling, right? And that's the nice thing about the independents. It could be anything you wanted. That there's so much negative in the world of like wrestling and everything like that. And it's like, okay, like I always tell people, like that's fine. Like if you're not into it, that's fine. There's a million things that you could watch, you know, and it's nice. To me, like, I love when we have moments like this because, like, you guys are having fun and it shows and everything like that. And it just, like, it makes you smile. And it was so physically being in that building, this going on, Gina being, like, Gina, being amazing, being part of this and everything like that. It's just, like, this is fun. Like, you know, like, I don't know how anybody could hate on something like this because it was just too funny.
Right.
So I love that.
And then when you have so much there's so much wrestling, like in such good quality work, obviously we can go in there and wrestle and do all that, but like you want to break it up, give fans like a breather and laugh a little and be
definitely.
I think it was that show. I mean, you had that amazing match with DJ Powers and Cha Cha. You had JT Dunn. I think he wrestled like an hour. You have guys like, we can go one show wrestling Waves and Curls where our daughter dressed as a banana is giving my wife a Stone Cold Stunner to us having to wrestle Miracle Generation, like our life's dependent on it. We like to be that, smorgasbord in wrestling.
I love that.
Give you great, and we want to entertain you as best as we can.
It gives you that variety of a little bit of a break that you can have that serious moment in wrestling, and then you could go somewhere else and have some laughs and just sit there and like totally enjoy that. So I love that about the independent scene. Top 5 is in the chat. What's up, Sammy Diaz? I think, I don't know. He's got a lot of belts there. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you guys want to take one.
Listen, I did that belt collector thing like last year. And it was fun, but no one talks about how heavy your gear bag is.
Yeah, the gear bag is too heavy.
Oh, it is the worst.
I've seen it.
Confidence booster, I love it, but poor Sammy.
That's why
we have a sciatica problem by the time he drops all those belts.
Well, we told him he has to get an intern. So we said Young Boy was going to be his intern, pretty much, to carry it around.
Love that.
Dave in the chat said that match stole the entire show. And he said, hello, legend and future legend. Jeff in the chat says, do you have a fan you absolutely can't stand?
I don't think... I don't know. I mean, I will say this. There's this promotion based out of Peabody, Massachusetts called Proving Ground.
Yes.
There is this, she's like 12 or 13 years old.
Oh, my Lord. You don't hate her.
I don't hate her. I don't hate anybody.
Terrible.
She screams bloody murder from the time the bell rings to the time the last match is over. And I have literally been up the street going to my car, which is like a block away, and I've heard her voice.
Oh my.
Sweetheart of a little girl. But she is the only fan that I openly argue with at shows, where it's literally like I have begged her father. I told her father, I will buy your tickets for the next year if you just chop your daughter in the throat right now. He did.
Stop
he said no. But she's a sweetheart of a girl. But
mind you, fun fact, she loves us. Like, she loves us. And we quickly figured out that she does scream bloody murder, and that's her thing. However, when I'm out there with him or vice versa, she does not yell half as much as she does throughout the show because we give it back to her. Mm-hmm. We call her out on it. She doesn't know what to do, so she doesn't do it as much.
Wow. Okay, well, if anybody wants to get them some...
all along. Like, you'll be in the locker room.
My. So if anybody wants to get them some gifts, get them some earplugs for Proving Ground. Just so you know, Jeff wrote that question thinking that you were going to say him. So he said, I can't believe it's not me.
No. He just calls me Burger King all the time.
It's all right.
Yeah, no, we don't mind that.
He'll say it enough. I'll get a sponsorship deal, then I'll say.
Yeah, he's hoping to get a sponsorship soon.
Heck yeah, man.
There you go.
Like you call me Burger King. My name is
Dairy Queen.
My name is BMT. I don't know if anyone sees the. I got to hire an agent.
I'm dead. Zach says Monarchy are the definition of get you a wrestler that can do both. He goes, BMT might steal Young Boy's services. Zach also says, oh, that little girl, and he's putting the little rolling eyes. Mark's in the chat. What's up, Mark? Yep. He goes, these fans can be so loud.
Mark.
Yep. And then Zach says, don't ever get loud with the Portuguese powerhouse. And Jeff said, you'll never shut me up. So there you go. And then to follow up with Jermaine's question live on the podcast last week, he wanted me to ask you, how does your throat feel after him kicking you?
Oh my God. Jermaine is I love Jermaine. I think he's real good. I think he has a bright future.
Even though he kicked you in the throat?
Even though he kicked me in the throat. It's okay. We let it slide. Because when the bell rung and Bob Whitney announced the winners, he announced stuff. So, I'm still talking, so I'm good.
All right, let's shout out to VST Wrestling also. So shout out to Harry and the whole crew over there, doing great things. So I know this weekend show should be up probably soon on IWTV. So definitely check that out. I want to talk about that. So here we go. So I'm the queen of the indies. Just whatever. It is.
Excuse you. Excuse you. Do not make me go get mine, right? Right.
But we have to talk. We have to talk about the November, the United by One show, where I was sitting with Zach, I was sitting with the promoter with Dai Kaiju, I was sitting with Tristan Kyle, I was sitting with Max, and then you guys came out, and then I didn't even start this. They started the "not my queen," and then they started pointing at me, saying that I'm their queen.
So rude. So rude.
So I just
they did that this weekend too. So rude.
That's pretty funny when the promoters
just saying.
the promoters start doing it too. So tell us some of your favorite moments working in BST wrestling.
So we've worked BST twice. So I met Harry. I was trained by Slick Wagner Brown through the Test of Strength Wrestling School. He's in East Hartford, Connecticut right now. Guys like Sammy Diaz, Young Boy, Ichiban come from that school. And we all connected through there. And it's been great. It's been fun. Our first show there, I got to mix it up with Sidney Akeem, which was amazing. There was a couple times in the ring where I had to remember I was wrestling him because I was like, holy crap, that looks amazing. And I'm like, oh no, he's doing that to me.
Oh no,
so,
I'm getting beat up.
it was really good. It's fun. I think honestly, Sydney's double back cutter is a pretty viral move. I think it's the most viral move right now in wrestling. So being able to take that was pretty awesome. I'm originally from Connecticut, so anytime I can get back to Connecticut, BST runs in Hamden, Connecticut. So I grew up 15 minutes from there. So I just love getting back there and, seeing old friends and, being able to perform as, now 36-year-old grown man with my wife. So
I love that. That's great. They're doing great things over there.
I like all know us. Like, they're not like the usual fans that know us. Because, we're in New England. Well, obviously part of New England, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We're in like the chaotic Fight Live, more of that territory kind of thing. And when we go to Connecticut, they don't really know us at first. Mm-hmm. And with us being there for like 30 seconds, they already hate us.
I think too, one thing I love about Connecticut is they love characters.
Yeah.
So we also wrestle for a promotion that's run by our old friend Purdy Curdy called Wrestling with Character.
Yeah. So much fun.
Their next show, I believe, is March 23rd in New Britain, Connecticut at the VFW. Enzo Amore is going to be there, Wrecking Ball Legursky. So it's going to be a great show. But we are full on King and Queen, King BMT and Queen Ariel.
Yeah.
Like,
you take all the characters, you put them at like an 11, and they have their own characters, so it's cool.
So we're like a 24 at that place.
Yeah.
It is obscenely obnoxious. Like, I remember the first time we worked there, on the way home, I looked at my wife and I said, if I was a fan, I went to that show, I'd want to punch me in the face after listening to me. So like, they gave us like live mics to talk to throughout the entire show.
It was terrible. I hated the live mic because I was like, wow, I can't stand hearing myself.
Yeah. So it was pretty awesome.
Poor fans.
Yeah, so that's what I love about Connecticut. They love characters, and it gives us the opportunity to really hone in on, those king and queen characters and really kind of like perfect them in a sense.
Yeah. Now, it's funny, like, we have a fan tweet from Alex, and he had said, like, do you prefer being a face or do you prefer being a heel? And then he wanted to follow up and ask, like, what are some tips that you can give on being, like, a really solid heel?
I prefer being heel. Just, I like it more because I think the heel has the ability to really dictate the roller coaster ride that the match is. To me, the drama of the match is on the back end of the match after, we've had a baby face who's had an opportunity to shine, but then the heel's taken it away from him. And then we get to the back half of the match, and that's when really, you kick it into overdrive, and you really tell the drama of the match. I prefer that more. And honestly, growing up, I used to love the heels, love the heels. Jake the Snake Roberts, Ted DiBiase, Ric Flair. I love the Freebirds. I loved the heels growing up as a kid. My advice, honestly, the biggest advice that I give, and I teach a class out in New Bedford, Massachusetts at the Gladiators Training Academy every Monday. It's the wrestling school that's owned by NRG, which is a promotion out here. I always tell my guys, become obsessed with the business. Footage is so easily accessible now. I remember having to go from Connecticut to Rahway, New Jersey for all pro shows just to meet the DVD and tape guy who was the best, who I can spend like $300 on getting DVDs for so I can study film. Now you go on YouTube and it's so accessible. So I always tell my students, and I always tell anybody who asks, hey, what advice would you give on, being a good heel or learning to become a good heel? It's understand who the greats are, find the greats, and study them. One piece of advice I was always given was the day you stop learning is the day you should stop this. No matter how long you've been in this, you're always learning every day. So take advantage, do your homework, and study.
So my advice, just to piggyback on him, is honestly, every moment counts. Because now you have people like Roman Reigns, who every single thing that man does is a soap opera. Everything he does, every look, every point, everything matters. So I think for me, the best thing as a heel is pay attention, and every little moment counts. Like when you were there this weekend, when he gave me the cutter, he acted like his life just ended because, oh my God, I killed my wife. And then, when you see the camera, that there's, cameramen who are amazing, who catch every little thing. Like that's how you distinguish you from the others.
Yeah, I think honestly,
All about the moments.
It's all about the moments. Moves are moves, but
Jose Perez is big on moments.
Yeah, Jose Perez, who is another gentleman that I call one of my trainers and mentors. He's amazing. He would always tell me, like, he always watches my matches, and we always go over things, and he always says, do your moves for the moments. The moments are what's going to convince people to buy into the story, buy a ticket to the next show, invest in the character. And, the moments are huge. And it's not just when the bell rings. The moment my music hits and the moment we walk through the curtain, that's when the match truly begins.
Yeah.
Love that. That's like great advice, like for anybody, like, the training or whatever, because that's always like a big thing on this podcast that I always like to end it with it. So now we'll end it on my last question on a good thing. But let me give love on this chat. John says, BMT, what's an insane spot you want to do with Mike Grassa in the future?
Say that one more time.
He said, what's an insane spot you'd want to do with Mike Grassa in the future?
Oh, good.
More insane? They've done enough.
We have literally in the matter of 4 months a cage match.
Like they want to give me a heart attack? That's enough.
A cage match, a casket match, and a ladder match.
Shotgun.
Yeah.
Let's have a shotgun match because that's the next step.
So just going back to my fanboyness, I remember watching live CM Punk superplex Jimmy Rave off the top of a cage at ROH. So when I found out I was wrestling Mike in the cage, I was like, oh, I'm suplexing you off the top of this cage. Like, I'm doing it. So I can make that side-by-side video and be, a giddy little 17-year-old again. If I can wrestle guys like Mike Grassa and AJP and Steven every single weekend, it's only going to make me a better wrestler. If we can, I don't know what more else we can do that's insane, but hey, listen, if it's going to entertain the people, it's going to put cheeks in seats, and it's going to give the young talent the ability to have more consistent places to wrestle, then I'm down for whatever.
And then Mark says, what's a dream match for each of you? Ooh.
I mean, if it's anybody, honestly, my dream match has always been AJ Styles. He is literally, You know, it's like growing up, him and Amazing Red were my two biggest guys because I absolutely love independent wrestling, and it's something that I actually took over love for mainstream wrestling. But I got the opportunity to wrestle Amazing Red in 2015, was amazing. But AJ Styles, man, all day, every day, you know, glad to, you know, see all the success he's having, but kind of bummed that, you know, he's not on the indies anymore. But yeah, my dream match for me, it's all day prime AJ Styles. That's what that's the dream.
I mean, my favorite was always Molly Holly. Maybe wrestling Molly Holly in her Molly Holly days, you know, not the other characters. That would have been a ton of fun. But I mean, nowadays, I'm just gonna say my dream match would be like, you know, being across the ring from Roman Reigns. You know?
Yeah, she said wrestling match.
Hey, excuse me, husband. I'm just saying, he's amazing. He's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
Hey, Jose's in the chat. He goes, I know them.
Love you.
What's up, Jose? Did you bring the food truck? Did you bring the food truck with the fight? I know, like, every time he pops in here, I'm just gonna like talk about the last Fight Life show that was in Connecticut in the brewery. The food truck, they started giving away the buzzers or whatever. So like, you know, they would bake your food and then when, you know, it's ready, they would page you. So I was outside with him and then he goes, does that go in my pants to vibrate? I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I can't. So he's writing in the chat. He's like, buzz. He goes, asking him about his TV and sound system.
He would.
Oh my God. So he would always rag on me because Jose's a big TV buff.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like this huge 70-inch TV in my house, but I had like no surround sound. And every time you come to my house, oh, you should do this. So when I wanted a TV and my wife said no, I put Jose on the task and I got a TV. And he's like, oh, hey, let me know when it's set up so I can watch. I was like, oh, great. By the way, you know, can you set it up for me?
Can you come over? We'll give pizza.
And I'm not paying you with other than my friendship and a large veggie pizza like he asked. Well, yeah, no, it's awesome.
Another question. I love this. All the questions in the chat. Thank you. Jeff says, as a fan, what has been your favorite match you're in or not in?
As a fan?
Mm-hmm.
As a fan, my favorite match that I'm in or not in. We've had a lot of matches. Off the top of my head, we did a I don't know if you were there for this one, Tiffany. We did that 10-man tag at Fight Life.
Oh yeah, that was
where it was me, the unit, Ariel, and DJ Powers versus JT, Anthony Green, Ashley Box, Cha-Cha, and Ricky Starks. And
Ricky Starks.
Ricky
Smokes.
Smokes.
I was gonna say, wait, what?
You don't remember?
Ricky Saints.
Listen, all these Ricky S's is gonna drive me nuts.
Yes, Ricky Smokes.
Ricky Smokes, and it was so funny because the way that we put that match together was it was based off an Attitude Era tag match. And all the guys with experience while we were going over the match are like, oh, this is going to be it's going to go over so well. And when kind of like the first half of the mission was complete, I just remember being out there and looking at everybody look around like, you know, like
it was ridiculous. Everybody was looking at each other and we're all like, you see, it's happening. It's happening. Because you could hear the reaction. We knew it was going to happen. So everybody's looking at you like, yep, it's happening.
Oh,
it was cute. It was good.
Yeah, definitely. That was my favorite. One of the favorites I've been in. I mean, I have tons of favorite matches that I haven't been in. Like I said, my favorite match of all time was Brett Shawn, WrestleMania 12. But
I think they mean like more recent.
Oh, more recent. Well, you know,
I would think.
Just it's on the cock. You know,
oh
just
will you stop? More recent.
Oh, I mean, I don't call it peacock.
Baylor yells that.
My 6-year-old said, "Hey, is it on the cock?" I'm like, "Yes, sir. It is."
It's terrible.
Go under continue.
Oh my!
He teaches my children this.
All right, let's do some of these fan tweets that came in. This one's from Good Cop, Bad Cop. He says, with the Monarchy being an anagram of they march on, which indie tag team most deserves to march on to the next tier of wrestling?
Miracle Generation. Miracle Generation, absolutely. Especially since we worked in that
Next year, like move on.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. We actually just had this conversation yesterday.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
When we were talking about just upcoming shows, and we just branched off. Especially after working with them at Rad Pro and kind of seeing like that range they have as entertainers and, you know, in a sense, kind of actors. I hope Dustin and Kylon in 5 years are making a shitload of money and they're very successful and they're traveling the world. Two very humble, very respectful kids who we worked with a bunch, and they're a pleasure to work with. They're amazing at what they do. And honestly, I hope they're the next tag team from this area to get called up and do huge things.
Definitely. I agree with that. Everybody knows how many times has Miracle Gen been on this
I'm sure you agree. You were telling
but then I'd be
telling Dustin to put a shirt on.
Little home wrecker. That was funny. So I have to like repost that like clip because that was just funny. I was just like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like my boys. But then I get selfish and then I don't want my boys to like leave the indies and stuff like that because then I won't see them. So another fan tweet we have for Graham. He says, if the monarchy had the powers of a 1500 English monarch like Henry VIII, which wrestler or wrestlers would you instruct the guard to get them and then off with their heads?
Off with their heads.
Wrestlers? Well, Little Mean Kathleen just karate chopped my son, so probably
my 6-year-old son.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's seen the clip from the last Rad Pro show.
Look it up, Rad Pro.
Rad Pro just had their show last Saturday, Code of Hero. It just came on demand on IWTV. Go and watch that.
Watch a gangster granny strike my son.
Yes. I won't be surprised if the next Rad Pro character is a child services social worker. Yeah.
So Little Mean Kathleen.
Little Mean Kathleen. Jermaine Marbury, because he makes cell phone calls before 9 p.m. You know what? JT Dunn, too. You know, I have a match against him on Friday. And, you know,
he doesn't respect the king.
He doesn't respect the king because, you know, made a proclamation of him coming back into the tag division and taking something that the GGC, God's Greatest Creations, wants. Like, they're just going to get through the monarchy really easily. So JT Dunn, you know, he's number one on my shit list. If there's anybody I would tell, you know, Alan Payne to bring me his head, it would be him.
Okay, I just like flashed up the graphic for this Friday, so you can watch the Chaotic Show on Twitch. They're always live. I'm usually in the chat in there. I'm one of the mods in there, so be nice or you're getting banned. All right, we have another fan tweet from Everything Pro Wrestling. Shout out to Conrad. He's got you covered with AEW and WWE reviews. He'll be live tonight after AEW. So he's got 2 questions. The first one, what is the most funniest moment you can tell fans while working together?
Funniest moment we can tell fans while it would be what?
Chicago PD.
Oh, so
it's such random things between the two
random
of us.
Things we try to make each other laugh. Like, you know, if we ever do a spot where somebody whips me into her, like,
oh, you're such a creep.
I'll smell her, be like, oh, you smell so good.
Yeah, I'll fall on him, and I just hear, you smell so good. I'm like, get off me.
And we just did that show, which I forgot what show it was, where I made you spoon me on the outside.
Yes, we were on the ground, and he's like, you're spooning me.
I think the best one is most recently. I've been telling her, I'm like, hey, when you kick somebody, you look like a cop from Chicago PD. Who, like, right before they break in the perp's house, they just like, Chicago PD. So now when she kicks somebody, I yell that in the middle of the ring, and you know,
it's ridiculous. I'm trying to be serious, kicking the person. I just hear Chicago PD.
Gotta have fun. Love that. Yeah. Definitely having fun. And his second question is, replace a movie with all the Muppet characters except one person. What move would you choose?
Replace a movie and put Muppet characters instead?
Yeah. It's like,
I would do Die Hard with a vengeance.
Oh,
I wouldn't mind Elmo being Zeus and saying motherfucker every other line.
Can you imagine? Motherfucker. Elmo's world, motherfucker. Terrible.
I don't know if you guys didn't watch Ben Bishop's interview, check that out because he was talking about Die Hard not being a Christmas movie.
Die Hard is a fucking Christmas movie. I heard that shit. Okay, Professor Snape's in that movie. I don't know what the hell his character name is. That's a Christmas movie. If it happens around Christmas, it can be designated as a Christmas. That is a Christmas movie. I hope Santa shits in your stocking if you say otherwise.
Excuse me, husband. I put up the stocking.
Ben Bishop is like a foot.
I put up the stocking,
Ben Bishop
sir.
is like a foot and a half taller than me. I'm sure he can grab me by my collar and hang me from a coat hook. I will die on this hill, come back to life, and die 9 more times.
It is not a Christmas movie. Love you.
Christmas movie.
Okay, so there you go. Thanks a lot, Conrad. All right, so I have 2 final questions for you. If you guys have anything, please feel free, drop it into the chat, and then we'll go over everything that you guys have coming up. All right, so we just began 2025. What are some goals for you guys?
Man, we have a lot of promotions that we work for that we really enjoy working for. Honestly, I want to continue, participating in those promotions, doing what we can to contribute, and really seeing those promotions go to the next level as much as they can. Places like Fight Life and Chaotic Wrestling, places like that. We have RWA out in Rhode Island. There's so many of them. We have NRG that, was kind of like our first home promotion when we came back. Honestly, I know when the bell rings that we're 2 of the best in New England, and I'll die on that hill too. And I want 2025 to really be a year where that is even further solidified. We don't have to prove shit to nobody. I'm not in the business of, having to, prove to some random person that I'm as good as I say I am, or she as good as she says she is. I know I'm at. This is just for us personally, just to put some more things on our mantle and go from there.
And have fun.
Have fun.
And have fun, honestly.
It's all about the fun. Good Cop, Bad Cops in the chat. He goes, Ben Bishop probably thinks Muppets Christmas Carol isn't a Christmas movie either.
He probably thinks Jesus' birthday isn't a Christmas movie.
John says there's multiple Christmas references in the original Die Hard. It's a Christmas movie. Andy says, ready for Cold Fury.
Cold Fury, man. Cold
We're
Fury
excited.
23. Cold Fury, I will say hands down, is the biggest independent wrestling show in all of New England. It's been happening every year, now going on its 23rd year. And we're going to be walking in as the keepers of the Chaotic Realm Tag Team Crown Jewels. We are very much ready for it. And as I said, anyone who steps to the Monarchy will always bend the knee. And when the lights are the brightest and the stage is its biggest, that won't be any different.
Right.
I gotta come up to one of these like Cold Furies. That's like one I haven't done. Like, I mean, I was up there.
March.
Yeah, I love it. It's just like, doing the rides, especially if I'm doing it like alone, So I gotta get to one of those because those are definitely like on my list. The Cold Fury is like, I feel like that's like WrestleMania of chaotic wrestling.
I was gonna say it's like the WrestleMania of like the Indies, and it's really cool to be a part of it. Like it's like everybody gets new gear, everybody's all in, the fans are all in. It's really cool.
We get new gear.
We get new gear all the time, but I mean, Cold Fury is like a big one, and it's not our. Is our first?
It's
No.
our second.
It's our second Cold Fury,
Yeah.
but like we're champs, we're all that. So it's just it feels like it is a big deal. I mean, it's really cool.
It's definitely one of those shows where, like, throughout the year in chaotic wrestling that you're working toward getting that spot in the Cold Fury. When I was having a conversation with Jose beginning of last year, and I said, "Oh yeah, we're going to be on Cold Fury," and I saw his face light up because it's a big show. It's chaotic wrestling is a prominent promotion. It's essentially the mecca in New England independent wrestling. So yeah, being on a Cold Fury is a big thing. Being on a Cold Fury 2 years in a row, being on a Cold Fury and what we assume will be a prominent match based on our championship status, it's huge. But again, it's just another thing to place on our mantle because for us, it's business as usual.
Definitely. I don't know. Maybe we'll see Shannon Levangie. Maybe she'll come back. Maybe jump off the balcony again or something crazy.
Maybe.
She's crazy.
She has a brand new knee, so I'm pretty sure her knee's good. It's perfectly fine to be bent. So
yeah. Bend the knee. Bend the new knee.
Ricky's in the chat. He says, I love these two in Rad Pro. Awesome. Good Cup, Bad Cup said he has another anagram question. He goes, thigh norm ache. What is the most normal common ache you get hours after or the day after a wrestling match?
Oh my God. So
everything.
For him. So for me,
everything.
It's so funny. Like, well, it's not funny because it's painful, but like it's always like I look like after a show I look like how Roberta Gingersnap looks like when she's walking to the ring.
Yeah.
Literally. I did.
That's him the next day, and I'm like, I don't want to hear it.
We did the Proving Ground Cup back in January, and I wrestled 3 matches. I wrestled about an hour total that entire night. And I remember stopping at like a rest stop to grab a drink, and I literally parked in front of the door. And my daughter said, "It took you 42 seconds to walk to the door. I timed you." And she was like, "The door was 3 steps away." I'm like, "Well, go screw yourself, first off. And second off, I'm getting old." And my driver's license and birth certificate may say 1988, but my brain still thinks I'm 18 years old. So yeah.
His brain's confused.
Got to take some Advil before.
Like his brain. Yeah.
What sucks is when you wrestle, then you got to get in a car for 2 hours, and you're all scrunched up in a ball, and then just glad I got a big comfy bed to get home to.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do this as my final question. Everybody knows wrestling with positivity is very dear to my heart on this podcast. So is there anything that you can think of, that you could share with us, maybe like a fan's done for you or you've done for a fan or maybe a wrestler's done for you guys or maybe you've done for a wrestler, anything that we wouldn't know unless you share this story?
Oh, we're like everyone's parents in the area. Like we play that parent role. So, there's been many times where we'll go out of our way for fans because we see them waiting or, if we're being told during intermission, hey, you got to get to the back, we'll be those people who will make them wait and, put the fans first.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know it's a simple one.
Yeah,
I know, quick one. So Greg, the sign guy, that goes to Fight Life and a lot of those shows. He was one of the first fans that I really kind of connected with when he first came back. And it was really funny just going out of my way to rip his sign that says reserved for Greg. I would rip it and put courtesy of Ariel, little stupid things like that. And it just kind of evolved. And then he always has those hilarious signs. And I know last year at his birthday, he happened to go to a show on his birthday. RWA, yeah. And I was at RWA and I had signs printed and I handed them out to all the fans. And my kids made signs for, Greg, the sign guy. So at intermission, I literally came out and the promoter was all, T was totally on board and he, we all sang happy birthday to him. He had no clue. So it was really cool. Doing things like that, especially for me as a mom, those are my favorite things now. I can come out and wrestle like the best of them and do whatever I need to do. But when you connect with that one kid or that kid who comes up to you after and was like, oh my God, you were so great. My daughter loves you and this and that. That's my favorite thing in the whole world. Because I remember when I was a fan, me and him talk about this all the time. When I was a fan, I used to go to a show, I used to scream and holler. And if a wrestler made eye contact with me, I was like, oh my God, he noticed me. It was the best thing ever. And everybody's a lot of people are like, no, you can't do that. You have to wrestle, do the moves. But I'm like, I'm that person. If I'm in the ring and I hear or I can hear, I'll call you out or I'll pay attention. As long as it doesn't interfere with the match. Yeah. It's the best part. Yeah. So I think for me as a mom, those are my favorite things. When people, go out of the way or when people are super nice, I think positivity wise, I've never I want to shout out to the locker rooms that we work for, particularly, Chaotic, NRG, and RW. They are obnoxiously welcoming and Red Pro to our children. They come with us. Some people are very iffy about kids around and this and that. My kids are welcomed with open arms. The wrestlers, connect with our kids, and they always welcome, like, oh, we have a seat for them. We'll make room. Don't worry. Let them in. Come in. And, like, that's wonderful. Like, especially because if they don't have they can't come, we can't come,
Right.
So it's really cool that people have really welcomed them and us into locker rooms and stuff. So I love that.
I think
because wrestling wasn't always like that.
No, I think it wasn't. And I think the reason why, because when we came back in 2022, it was because we wanted to do it once, and then so our kids could see us wrestle, and we haven't stopped since. Yep. We're going on 3 years because everyone has been so welcoming and accommodating to us. When I think of positivity in wrestling, one thing that comes up is our youngest son, Benjamin. Now, Benny is always a special story because Benny's our last child. He's Jose's godson.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
that's how we're all connected somehow.
Unfortunately, when he was born, we almost lost him and my wife. So it was a very scary time for us. So to see the little guy that he's grown into, who absolutely loves wrestling, especially independent wrestling, literally he'll be walking around our house and you'll hear him announcing, JT Dunn to the ring, announcing Stephen Loss to the ring, announcing Waves and Curls to the ring, or Ricky Smokes to the ring. He wanted, for his 6th birthday last April, he wanted a wrestling themed birthday party. So Davey Cash and Shay Cash over at NRG rented out the building to us to have a birthday party. And we had like 20 guys who gave up donated their time for us to put a wrestling show on for him. Jose booked the show. Unbeknownst to him, he found out when he showed up and went to the buffet that he was a booker.
He got to have that moment where he came in the ring and got to eliminate his dad. It's really cool.
But to see to see all the guys that have been so welcoming to the kids, my son calls Stephen Luss Uncle Steve.
Yeah, T Steve.
And, when they get around guys like, we were just talking about
Minecraft.
We were at Rad Pro and Ricky Smokes, who's another one of those guys who is, I always tell people there's good and then there's Ricky Smokes good.
Yeah.
Ricky Smokes was, calling his match in the locker room, trying to be all serious. He looked out the corner of the eye, saw one of my little guys playing Minecraft, completely forgot that he was calling a wrestling match and dove right into a Minecraft conversation like he was a 7-year-old. Just like my 7-year-old. And, seeing like even promoters like Chase over at Chaotic
Chase
literally
winds them up.
Goes out of he is like that uncle who runs around with the kids at 9 o'clock at night and brings them candy, and then when it's time to put them to sleep, he's like, "Oh, I gotta go, bye." Yeah. So it's just one of those.
It really does. I'm like, "Will you stop? Go away! I have them quiet. Go away."
Long story short, how our family has become welcomed into our wrestling family has made this probably one of the best experiences, not only for me as a professional wrestler, but for me as a dad, because my kids love it. It's going to be real hard when we say, hey, we're done, because we know how much they love going to shows, and we know how much they love the guys and the gals that make up those shows and we share locker rooms with.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Positive for me, because back in the day, women weren't always completely welcome and things like that. So this is it's been completely different from other things that could have happened, I love it.
Oh, I love this. I love this whole story with wrestling positivity. This is why I forced this in the Under the Ropes and the indie wrestling corner as a whole. This, it just melts my heart. I just like to hear all these stories about people that I know. It's just amazing. And it kind of Jeff said it in here. Where is it? He said, this interview is making it just a little harder to hate you. So, but that's why I love these interviews and I love this positivity and stuff, because it shows you guys of who you guys actually are behind the characters, that it's not always that everybody's an asshole whoever plays an asshole. It's a character that you guys are just like us. Mark says you guys are one of my all-time favorites to work with. Coach.
Oh, Mark the cameraman's the best.
Yes.
I told Mark.
He catches every moment.
I told Mark, I think it was after the ladder match with Grassa last month. I said, I told him, like, hands down, production now in independent wrestling is so amazing. You know, I would always say one of the things I always wanted to work on is just kind of my ring awareness when it came to where the cameras were. Mm-hmm. And I remember pulling Mark aside. I'm like, holy shit, man, you're amazing at what you do. Like, you know, literally, like, every time I, you know, took a move and I was reacting, he was right there. Or if I hit a move and I spun and I was looking for a camera, you know, we did the Crown Jewel challenge. And when I hit Livia with the cutter, I knew as soon as I got up and I looked to my left, Mark was going to be right there. And I hit the finish, 1, 2, 3. I got up to a knee, looked to my left, got my hair out of my eyes, and Mark is right there in my face. So amazing guys. The guys who make the shows happen, the people who contribute, you know, the guys who get there at 9 a.m. to set up and make us look like $1 million, those guys deserve all the credit in the world. What we do in those short windows of time from bell to bell, that's an art all in itself, but those guys make it possible for us to do that. So They deserve all the credit in the world as well.
Yeah, like everybody's important when it comes to like wrestling as a whole, and that's why like a lot of the things that you guys see at like my Indie Talks episodes, you see the before the scenes of like people putting the rings together, and you know it's a team effort. Like I know completely how it goes, like from the beginning to the end, and it's hours, and everybody works their ass, you know, and it's not just you guys, it's everybody else. You have your production, the refs, you know, like the interviewers and everything. Like everybody plays such a role in the independency, well, wrestling in general too, you know, like TV and stuff like that. It takes time to do all this. So I feel like Mark's gonna have to come out to this podcast eventually too, and we're gonna have to like chit chat on there also.
I like that.
So shout out to him. Let me see, we got more. Jose said Weed Whacker versus Flowers, who wins?
But Weed Whacker won. It's on video, look it up. Weed Whacker won.
So when we were doing that doghouse match I mentioned before, Jose's like he's my finish man. I tell people Jose
is like the little devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Who he's like, I have this idea, and Jose's like, yes, let's do it. Yeah. Make it this much worse.
So in wrestling references, Jose's my Pat Patterson. Yeah. So anytime I need a finish or we need to settle an argument about an idea, like we call Jose. I've called him at 1
We've called him so many times in the car.
I've called him at 1 a.m. to be like, you need to talk to her. She doesn't agree with this spot. Like, tell her it's the right spot.
Yep.
So when we were coming up with this doghouse match, I told him, I said, man, you know, I really think this could be like a breakout match for us. And I was like, you have any ideas? He was like, she needs to put a weed whacker to your ass. And I was like, what did you just fucking say to me? And he was like, you need a weed whacker in this match. And lo and behold, you know, the end of the match, I try to give her flowers.
And it just so worked perfectly. My daughters had their dance recital that day. So we had this huge bouquet of flowers. So it all kind of worked out. Yeah. It was such ridiculous.
And it was so funny because they sent us the raw footage, and to hear like Mark laughing as he was recording, and to see Frankie recording and he was laughing, and just like even seeing the ref laughing, I was just like, yeah, well, you know, it wasn't a pleasant feeling, but it was worth it. It was worth
it. I love that. What else we got in this chat? Coach C's in here. What's up? He goes, the Monarchy rules. Grateful for all that they have done. So much love.
Love you, Coach.
John says a Mark episode is a must. So I guess in the future, Mark, I guess you're coming on the On the Rope series. I've done episodes with GoPro and everything like that, so we could talk production and we can get a little bit detailed into that. So we love that around here. So if you guys have any other questions, drop into the chat. So let's talk about what you guys got like coming up, so everybody can support you.
So this Friday, Tewksbury Elk Lodge.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name, Chaotic Wrestling. We are on the road to Cold Fury. I think we have,
your match just got announced.
We have 2 more shows until Cold Fury 23. It will be the King of New England, BMT, with his queen Ariel against the one JT Dunn. You know, JT Dunn, you know, I told him before last time we had an interaction, if he's my savior, then I'm his maker, and it's very, very nice to meet him. There's a lot of history between me and JT there. A lot of history. JT is a young man who did very well for himself and put himself in a position to be recognized as one of the best in New England because of his hard work and the fact that I wasn't around. That the life that he is enjoying right now that he built for himself, I chose to go build for myself, 13 years ago, much sooner than he did. That's an interesting story for those who may want to listen. And I want to say this without saying too much. I personally, as a humble king, as a giving king, will become bearing gifts this Friday. So it is very important that if there are tickets still available, I think they're pretty much sold out, or standing room only is the only thing that's going to be available sooner rather than later.
If not, log in.
Twitch.tv/chaotic wrestling. I want to be able to present this world right to JT, right in front of all the people live at the show watching at Twitch. So, be there, watch live, do whatever you have to do. Then we have Fight Life, No Love Lost, Sunday the 23rd at the Hillvale Country Club in Rehoboth, Massachusetts. It's going to be show
these youngins a lesson.
It's going to be the Cha-Cha Slide Kid and that juvenile delinquent.
Yeah, everyone's favorite juvenile delinquent.
Who, if she went to a bar right now, all they could give her is a juice box. Livia, her. Against the Monarchy. Those Fight Life Tag Team Championships, those are pretty belts, man. Those are pretty belts.
They look good on our mantle.
And they would look really good on our mantle with the other Tag Team Championships that we held, especially next to these crown jewels. So, and that pretty much wraps up our February.
Now we have TOS.
We have March 1st, we have Proving Ground in Peabody. It's going to be Ariel versus
Gabby Forza.
First
time one-on-one.
Awesome.
First time one-on-one. And I love Gabby. I think Gabby's amazing at what she does. And I think
she's not the queen, though.
She's not the queen. And, someone young at her age, she has a lot of years ahead of her where she'll do good things. But at the end of the day, you can't teach experience. It's unteachable. And that is what Ariel has on her tenfold. And then I'm going back home. March 8th in Palmer, Massachusetts, Test of Strength, Lone Survivor. I'm actually going to be in a special old school versus new school.
With the original class.
With the original class of Test of Strength students against a new class of Test of Strength students.
I'm in the number one contender match.
And she somehow, you know what I think it is? Here, listen, I'm gonna cut this off. You know what I think this is? And if you ask Mortar, he'll agree with me. You know why I think she's in the Lone Survivor match? For a shot at Test of Strength Wrestling Championship, because Dustin Waller is a politicker.
And terrible.
He wanted to get into a match where he knew he'd be oiled up and shirtless next to my wife.
That's Pam.
So
that's not Ariel.
Because randomly, we're never at Test of Strength. My wife all of a sudden is in a match.
They're confusing the two. That's Pam.
And when you look at the talent roster, all of a sudden Dustin's in the match with her. So, oh my
Stop
God,
it.
Coincidence.
It has nothing to do with the fact that I just, beat up Super Furrow at a show.
Oh yeah, that. And when I walk outside, there'll be a pig flying in the sky. Sure, what?
That's Pam. Stop.
Oh, we got Mr. Jones in the chat. Hi, what's going on? Zach says Ariel versus Gabby is gonna cook. Yeah, it is. That's gonna be awesome. Joe Griffith's in the chat. He goes, BMT, congratulations on your hard work in the gym lately. Your captions crack me up every time. Keep killing it, bro.
Oh yeah, me. So I had a conversation with somebody not too long ago, and they've known me for years. Like, man, you just never, you've never been like a body guy. I was like, oh, maybe one day. So I figured, like, if I go to the gym and just stare at the weights, maybe I'll get muscles. But, I was proud of myself. I figured out how to get a protein shake from the cooler after a month of being there and realizing all I had to do was, press a button. But yeah, no, it's a good release from.
You're making the Monarchy look bad.
We're not. All my strength is up here, which is why I have things like this. So I don't need traps, pecs, biceps. Everything I have is here, which is why when I left the game for 6 years and we came back, we've been doing nothing but winning championships and main eventing shows. So
I know that, but you're also telling people that you just figured out how to press a button. Stop it.
You have to scan a barcode and pay, and then
don't tell people those things.
Jeez, honestly, I'm just gonna bring a thermos now.
Zach said, what happens in the 90s stays in the 90s. And then John says BMT's social media game is unmatched. Love that.
I am the czar of social media.
Yeah, and Zara's making fun of me for half the time.
Oh yeah,
terrible.
I
tell him all the time, I'm not texting you back, no more. Every time I text him, it ends up on social media. Forget
it. The young lady who is responsible for making our tag team gear just added me on Facebook.
Poor thing.
And she said, I've only added you on Facebook because Amanda told me you need to have Tomas on Facebook to see all the shit that he does to his wife.
See?
So yeah.
I'm a victim.
Yeah.
Well, tell everybody where they can follow you if they don't follow you already for all the shenanigans.
So Twitter, because I'll never call it X, and Instagram, I'm at the BMT88. You can find me on TikTok on the Monarchy BMT. If you can find me on Facebook, good luck, because I probably won't add you. I'm like, no, I won't add you.
He's lying.
And then Ariel, obviously Portuguese Powerhouse Ariel.
It's either Portuguese Powerhouse Ariel or Powerhouse Ariel. It's one of them. You'll find them. I'm wearing all the fan. I'm old, so we're on all those socials. The Instagram.
I can send you guys my MySpace and my
MySpace.
There you go.
TV chat.
I'm sure Mike's is still active too.
I'll send you my MSN Messenger or whatever.
The AOL. Remember all that?
AOL. I am.
The you got mail. The you got mail.
All you kids talk about slap, cap, Riz, all this shit. There's nothing in this world compares to the feeling of getting home on a Friday, seeing that you have new messages on your MySpace and your favorite girl is live on AIM. Literally.
Oh my God, on AIM.
Nothing beats that.
Stop talking.
Orgasmic.
Oh,
you're
who was
aging
it
yourself.
that we were talking about the top 9 friends? Oh my goodness.
Top 9. Ruined so many relationships.
Everyone thought they were like a government hacker because they coded their MySpace to have like Raining Glitter, a new song, and a top 64.
I don't remember.
Yep.
What good comment? So in the notes, Tiffany posted Facebook details just so we can get all what? Oh, oh yeah, because I shared all the socials in the description below. So, but they expect to be boot not accepted on Facebook. So that's so great. That's so great. Anything else you want to share with everybody before we go?
Just keep supporting. We appreciate all the support. Obviously, we left for a little while to, no pun intended, build our kingdom. So we appreciate all the support and being, kind of reintroduced to a newer generation of fans and newer generation of talent. Most importantly, because obviously we don't do this by ourselves. There's a lot of people contribute. Support your local wrestling promotion. Yeah. Wrestling now is a dominator in pop culture. It is no longer embarrassing to admit you were a wrestling fan or talk about, what you saw the night before on a Monday night or a Wednesday night or a Friday night. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I unfortunately think we're getting to a point as it pertains to mainstream wrestling where it's becoming very much like a Taylor Swift concert where your average family can't afford to go. However, every single weekend, there is a bunch of hardworking guys and gals who will put on a great wrestling show for you and your family. It is affordable, is an intimate environment. You'll get good interactions, good concessions, good merchandise, and you won't have to skip a mortgage payment. Right. But most importantly, support the young guys and gals who are out there busting their ass, who want to make something out of themselves, live out their dreams to be professional wrestlers. It's
support each other overall. Even people like, your podcast. Yeah, the whole positivity thing. Like, that's wonderful. I love the fact that, you gear to that when can be so much negative. There's already so much negativity in the world. Like, let's focus on the good things. Support each other. It takes a second to share somebody's comment. Like, I share tons of girl stuff. He constantly, we share things from other companies and people that we've never met. At the end of the day, we're all supporting each other.
Exactly. It's I get a lot of times people say, "Oh, are you sharing? You don't work for this promotion. Are you sharing them because you want to work for them?" I said, "No, I'm sharing them because my buddies work there and I want to see my buddies succeed." Yeah. Or a person that I trained with, or a person that I worked with or I helped train is working for that promotion, so I want to see them good things. Professional wrestling is the ultimate example of pay it forward.
Yep.
So all that I ask is the guys and gals out there continue to pay it forward, and the people who support us and pay their hard-earned money to come see us every weekend continue to do so and continue to have a good time.
Love that. You like nailed it on the nose. This is stuff that I've been preaching also for years. Post the clips, help the wrestlers out, share the videos, you know. Like I'm very big on posting clips all the time. Like everybody knows like and then my commentary, right? Like cool.
I look forward to your posts. After every show, I log on right away. I'm like, did she post anything? What is it? Yeah. I really do. It's the first thing I do when I get home.
It's so funny. It's just like I can't. I think I gotta find because like I don't want to like overkill social media with like I can post like a million freaking things and I try to find like certain things and I have to find the clip. I don't know if I took it, but when they started chanting the whole Burger King and Burger Queen, or like no, they started saying BLT and Burger Queen at PST this weekend. I was dying and I was like, wow. I was like, I hope that picked up like on the camera. Gotta have fun. That's what it's all about, you know, having fun in independent wrestling. I love that. Let's see. Jeff says nothing like an independent show. So many great wrestlers, people. Jose said pink shorts.
Oh Lord, Jose.
Listen,
Stop it.
I went through a phase. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, I used to be like 305 pounds. I was a big boy. I broke my back in 2012 and I was out for a while. And unfortunately with that came a lot of, you know, a lot of depression, a huge weight gain.
Get to the pink short.
And so I lost a lot of weight. So I started feeling myself. So I went back to, you know, like when I was a teenager and I shopped at like Hollister and Abercrombie. And I bought these pink shorts that every time I went outside with them, I should have been cited for public indecency.
It was like Daisy Dukes, but
yes.
like in like sweatpants material.
Yeah.
Okay.
All kinds
and
of ridiculous.
when we bought our house in Massachusetts and we had our housewarming party, that is what I wore.
For
and
sure.
Yeah, so our core group of friends, Jose is one of those guys.
Stop it.
You know, whenever they're coming over, those pink shorts are at the ready, man.
He's
They're
dying.
Terrible.
He's dying in the chat. You're a little shit stir. You're a little shit stir.
Yeah.
but it makes
Jose's middle name.
it makes good entertainment on the podcast. So, but next week I am back. Joseph A-Game is returning back onto this. I was gonna say iPod. Good job. Okay, onto this podcast. I don't know what's where my brain is. Anyway, so he will do a return. If you guys haven't listened to the original episode, go check that out. There's so much that we are going to catch up on next week. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming on here. It's been such a treat. You know, it's been fun. You know, like you guys are amazing. We learned a lot more about you. The fans love you or love to hate you, whatever it is, you know. Like, Jose said, ask Ariel crossbody.
Oh my God, Jose, be quiet.
Tell Jose not to fall asleep at birthday parties.
Yeah, exactly. That the main thing is don't fall asleep at a birthday party because when I'm bored, I will crossbody you through a chair because that's what happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
When Jose fell asleep, he was like the drunk uncle.
He was the drunk uncle. He fell asleep at a birthday party, and when all of our friends realized he was asleep, we gave Anna a look, and she ran across my backyard and full on cross-bodied him while he was asleep through one of those plastic like
what's it called? The
Adirondack chairs. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I broke the chair. I was very
broke
upset.
the chair. So yeah.
I can't. Well, that's a good way to end this. So, yeah. So,
He's
guys.
Like, all right, Jose.
Well, anyway, thank you guys so much. Thank you, fans, for everything. If you're listening to this later, leave some likes, share it, you know, leave some comments, all that fun stuff. So, and you guys know the drill. Stay safe, support independent wrestling. I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good one.